GG，恭喜小 Hero，现在记得
GG，恭喜 Jason 4比3，飞龙在天。
哎，算了，恭喜他夺冠吧。哇，他最后这手感染图太绝了。最近半年 ZvP 56-3，给自己点一个赞。冠军。
I don't think Cyril has any chance to save this one, but he continues.
It gets killed coming back, and Bunny just doesn't seem to have the numbers.
Look at Didn't even notice the Liberator in the main base, I think. So many probes are going down right now.
Oh my god, they're trying to get back, but they can't, and so many are picked up. A big clump here from Kiri. Tries to split everything up.
Giant force of Fadelings rolling in and clearing the hell. That's massive.
Cyril did it all, and he is a well-deserving champion.
And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day, another week, another edition of the Coliseum 8 playoffs, day number 5. Whew, I'm of course, oh my god, I'm of course your host, Live VIP. With me, I'm joined by these amazing players, by the people in the chat, by my plushies as well. Welcome one and all to the beginning of the end. Welcome to the elimination round here as we are here in the lower bracket. Last night we were live, we saw a plethora of Protoss advanced on in the upper bracket. Cyril has fallen, Reynor has fallen, they're both down here in the lower bracket, and some of these players are going to be eliminated. Up next we have 2 PVZs, 2 best of 5s. Up first, as you can see here, Reynor versus Zoun. Let's go. Let us go. Reynor versus Zoun is going to be coming up first, followed by Cyril versus Estrella. And I'm torn. I am torn. You know, I've got a lot of love for a lot of these players, but last we have to say goodbye to 2 of them, and the other 2 will continue on in their tournament run. Oh boy, as we are looking to conclude Coliseum this weekend. We have a lot of matches ahead of us. We have a lot of games to come here today, tomorrow, the day after that as well. A lot of StarCraft, a lot of content. We have our players. We have our ZvP. Vetoes are done, and oh my god, I assumed it was the best of 5. My apologies here. Welcome to the best of 7s. Let's go. Let us go. Best of 7, papi. Oh my god, we're gonna get the most out of these 2, the most that we can. We're here for it. We are ready for it. Oh my god, we have 1 veto each. Neo-Violet Square and Frostline. That's it. That's all we're getting rid of. Those are all the vetoes. Also, I was curious if we were going to get some more interviews. Some more content. Alas, that is not the case. We are just jumping right into our matches, right into our series here. I mean, with all these extra games, we're gonna need to. We're gonna just need to jump on in and jump into our best of 7. Game 1 of Wizards of Gold, Game 2 Amygdala, Abyssal Reef, Ley Lines, Ultra Love, King's Cove, and El Dorado as the ace match. Clearly, neither player wants to play on El Dorado, so let's push all the way down to Game 7. We'll see if we can get there. And coming into this, I am curious as to how this is going to play out. For those that were here yesterday, you would know that Reynor, he all-ined almost every single game against Hero. Just very aggressive play, very in his face or in the face of Hero as well. No standard games, no macro games. We avoided any semblance of macro between Reynor and Hero last night. Direct opposite with Cyril and Maxx. We'll get into that later. We'll get into Cyril and Maxx later. But Reynor, he was an animal against Hero. Alas, did not work out. Did get knocked down, and we'll see how he compares to Zoun. Now, what's interesting about Zoun here is that Zoun, historically, this has been his weakest matchup. Historically, Zoun, he has been popping up against Protoss, he's been popping up against Terran. That has been his stomping ground. But over the past couple of weeks, especially looking at our online weeklies, Zoun has been looking quite good, quite powerful. I'm referring to, I believe, KSL. Zoun, he took down Dark, he took down Shin. Zoun, he took down some big Korean Zerg players. What this event is telling us, I was going to say is that Zerg players have been struggling a little bit more against Protoss, but we are jumping into Game 1, and in the top left-hand corner, we have Reynor, the Basilisk. And in the bottom right, we have the South Korean Protoss player. It is Zoun. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is a Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as the predictions are open for the next couple of minutes. Here we go. Again, the Gamba is open. And coming into Whispers of Gold, I do favor Reynor coming into this map. I mentioned before that Reynor, he was very aggressive and very all-in against Hero in their series last night. And Whispers of Gold typically favors that kind of style. It favors aggression, it favors all-ins. So if Reynor did want to be assertive here in Game 1, this map would favor him. Now, I'm not saying that it'll work 100%, but the map does kind of favor that kind of style. We'll see how Zoun approaches this as we are opening up with a delayed gas. Hello. Interesting. A hatch pool opener here out of Reynor. Delayed gases. Interesting move from our Zoro player. Gas is just now being taken, but this means that late link speed out of Reynor. This means that Zoun is going to be able to be a little bit more assertive with his adepts early on because there won't be any speedlings to punish those adepts and to punish the third base as well. So Zoun should recognize this and he should be able to be a little bit more assertive with those adepts early on if he chooses to be, of course. So there's potential here for Zoun to try to punish Reynor. Likewise, Zoun is settling in. Going to be tasing away at that drone, being as annoying as possible, and embracing the early game. Let's go. Now, when it comes to these openers, we have seen Zoun go and mix it up a little bit and go into these Archon-based openers. He has done so, and he did do so previously, going to Charge-Outs, going into Archons. Not relying on it as heavily as some of the other European Protoss players, but he has played around a little bit with it, so we could see some of that at some point here in this series. Definitely something that we could factor in. As for now, the Stargate is on the way, so standard opener out of Zoun. We'll see if he opens up with an Oracle or with a Void Ray. Oh, good. I'm dying a little bit. Reynor expanding towards his opponent makes sense. Does take the triangular third base. With his expansion, Reynor can spread creep faster across the map. He can go into a Queen base all-in as a result with a Queen Walker across the map with a bit of a German taxi as well. That is going to be an option here for Reynor. Is going to be an option. And as we settle in, we have our tech of choice. We have our initial unit here. It is not going to be an Oracle. It's going to be a Void Ray opener out of Zoun. Now, I don't expect this to be a Void Ray opener into Skytoss, for example. I don't think this is an ideal map for that sort of style. But regardless, this could be for earlier tech. Could be for an earlier Twilight Council, into earlier Glaive Adepts, into earlier Charge, into Aggression here, into an Immortal, into a Robo, I should say. So there are options for Zoun to mix it up. Meanwhile, we mentioned before that these links can be active, these adepts can be active a little bit longer as link speed is delayed, and now we can see Zoun racing back home. The first warrior is going to be shut down, and there it is! Twilight Council before the third base. Very early tech, very aggressive build here by Zoun. This screams Glaive Adepts. Now, if we were casting Hero, this could also be early Blink. It could be early Blink into a 3-base all-in with 8 gateways, but I'm feeling Glaives here for Zoun. We'll see, regardless, aggression nonetheless. We'll see if it's going to be Blink or Glaives. As Lings are being active, the Oracle pops out. Twilight Council is done. And oh my god, there was a hidden third option. Let's go. There was a hidden third option here. Charge coming out from Zoun. That I was not expecting. Okay, so this looks like a charge all-in. Basically, we'll be working towards, I believe, a War Prism. We're going to be throwing down extra gateways. I believe up to at least 6 gates here for Zoun. Potentially up to 8 gateways and just pure Zealot. And this is going to hit earlier. This is going to hit sooner than Glaive Adepts. It's going to hit harder as well. And I was about to say, if Reynor, if he skips his Roach Warren, he could just die here and now. Thankfully, Roach Warren has been thrown down. There is a Roach Warren on the way. We have 4 gates. I believe it's going to be 6 in total. There we go. More gates are being thrown down. And this should be a 2-base all-in. Should just be straight up 2-base all-in. Jesus, we're getting up to 7. Getting up to 8 gateways. And you can see here he's transferring. Is transferring workers over towards the third base. Again, trying to sell a story. Now, Reynor, he is making some roaches here, so very safe play by Reynor. Is thankfully making a handful of roaches. He did spot those zealots to reinforce, which is a tell that something is wrong, that something is amiss. You should not be seeing zealots here this early on. So Reynor playing it safe, but still droning up. And here comes the all-in. And Reynor, I believe he has 5 roaches, but not many links to support. Yeah, just 5 roaches here at the third base. Zoun, oh, he's supply blocked. Ooh, he's supply blocked. Okay, he just broke out. He just broke out. Charge looks like do hit the field. They hit the third base. More zealots on the way. First queen gets surrounded. Nice positioning here out of Reynor. Very nice positioning. Despite that 2 roaches, they get caught out. They get surrounded. Third base is safe. Zelze head towards the natural, going for the Roach Warren, but 9 more roaches in production as the Roach count does build up. I mean, this is getting better for Reynor. But the Roach Warren does go down, and he busts into the natural. Just the Eva Chambers, boys being pulled. Zelze to engage. They dive into the main. Uh-oh. Diving into the main base, and Reynor, he's in trouble. Trying to come in from behind. More Zelts coming in to reinforce. And he is overwhelming. Nice positioning here at the ramp, though. Yeah, roaches at the ramp. They hold the line, but the Void Race in position as well, shutting down the roaches. And I believe that Zoun has done it. Yeah, he has done it. He breaks through. Mineral Light is going down. Roaches falling one after the other. And Reynor, he's being broken. Maybe if you recall, I said that aggression is favored on this map. I was expecting Reynor to be the aggressor, but no, it was Zoun. It was Zoun with the 2-base all-in. Just catching Reynor with his pants. The pants, they were down. GG gets called, and Zoun takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Again, I was like, oh, you know, all-ins can work really well here. You know, I'm sure that Reynor, he's going to be in the face of Zoun. No. Zoun was like, mate, I'm going to get there first, Pappy. Let's go. Twilight Council into charge, into a 2-base all-in, a charge-based all-in as well. Something very unorthodox. You do not see this often whatsoever. Again, Reynor, he did make a couple of safety roaches. Only 5 safety roaches. He did not see the move out. He did not confirm the all-in. He had no idea what was coming his way, and he was caught with his pants down. He was still in the middle of droning up his third. He was still in the middle of getting into +1 range, into teching up towards a longer game, and with that, GG. GG, well played. Oh god, okay, let's go. We're not at full mast yet. We're at half mast when it comes to Smurge. We're getting there. We have yet to unleash our hidden power. He's storing it up. It's a best of 7. It's a long series. Long series. At a certain point, we're going to be able to hear like the Italian rap like blaring through Reynor's headset. Like through the stream. It'll happen. That's when we know that he's Reese's final form. We're warming up. We're warming up. But so far, Zoun does take lead. But again, it's a long series. It's a best of 7. Best of 7 up ahead of us. And what I should emphasize as well, this initial game here out of Zoun, we do not expect that all-in again in this series. It is a best of 7, so I mean, maybe like game 5, game 6, like maybe we bring it back. But typically you don't want to rely on a build as niche, as specialized as this multiple times in a series. You don't want to rely on it. You don't want to embrace it. So we should be seeing something different here as we're loading into game number 2. Let's go. And in the top right-hand corner, we have Reynor for Basilisk. And in the bottom left, we have Zoun, the South Korean Protoss. Here we go. And welcome, one and all, to Amygdala. Amygdala is one of the larger maps in the map pool. Aggression is not favored on this map. You can still pull it off, that is true, but again, the map is working against you. It is a much larger map, longer resistance by ground as well. Likewise, much more defendable bases because they are more difficult to really engage as the aggressor, at least when it comes to rotating top side and bottom side. So we should be seeing more of a mid-game situation here between Reynor and Zoun. We should be seeing 3-base saturation. We should be. As we are settling in. Reynor going hatch first, and Zoun does scout across the map. I still believe, like if you, Pappy, we're still early. it's a best of 7. Plenty of games, plenty more games ahead of us, plenty more to come. It's okay. We're gonna be okay. I'm gonna be shocked if this is in either direction, like a one-sided series, like a 4-0 either way. I do not expect. We're here for a back and forth. But clearly Zoun, he has some builds. Like, clearly he is willing to play unorthodox. I mentioned earlier that when we saw Zoun take down Dark and when we saw him take down Shin, Zoun was very much so not cheesing. He was very much so mid-game oriented. So clearly, like, he is coming in prepared for this series, for this tournament, for Reynor specifically. So any preconceptions that we had about Zoun, throw them out the window, because clearly he is willing to cheese if need be. And that'll come into play on some of these other smaller maps like Ley Lines or Ultra Love. You know, those smaller maps, that's when we'll start to take that into consideration. Here, Stargate Opener. And I was going to say I wouldn't be opposed to a Void Ray, but again, the likelihood of us going into Hidden Tech here is a little bit lower. Oh, actually, rushing into Sky Toss is possible. Fun fact, if you were here last night, if you remember, Hero attempted to rush into Sky Toss on this map on Amygdala. He went Void Ray Opener into Tempest, or he was trying to rush into, not Tempest, into Carrier, into Double Stargate Carrier, and Reynor all-in Hero, and broke him in time. If Zoun was watching, maybe unwise to try to rush into a Fleet Beacon here. I would say it's an option, that is true, but after what happened against Hero, maybe not the wisest choice. And there it is, a Void Ray Opener. Now, in general, I like this just because he opened up Void Ray in game 1, and typically it's just a really good way to play mind games with your opponent, to try to make it look like the same build, to make your opponent as uneasy as possible, and to keep them in the dark. So Void Ray is on the way. With this, you can see Zoun going to be hunting down the Overlords, keeping Reynor in the dark. Question becomes, where do we go from here? Do we see a Fleet Beacon? Do we see another fast Twilight Council? Do we just play standard? That's also possible. Do we not? As Reynor, he does get supply blocked. Is slowed down for a moment. We can see Zoun getting his third base. This time there isn't any earlier tech before the third. Not this time. Zoun just getting his expansion. We're still waiting for that tech of choice. There's still time for an early Twilight Council. And yep, there it is. Early Twilight Council. Now, first things first, this is not as early as last game. This should not be charged. I believe that we should not be seeing a charge all in once again. You have Twilight Council into Forge. It should be +1 and... I was going to say +1 and Blink, but this is an earlier Twilight Council. Technically, this could be +1 and Charge. Like, this could be +1 Charge into Charge Lot, not into an all-in that we saw last game. So we'll keep an eye on Zoun. Is reinforcing with Stalkers. This tells us that most likely it should be Blink. No, there it is. Charge is on the way. Okay. Our first read for Charge, as this was a little bit earlier. So +1 and Charge, this should be leading to Archon production as well. Again, this is not the all-in that we saw last game. This is a different variation of Charge-based opener, but this is still going to be hitting a strong +1 timing. This will be hitting with +1, and typically this hits with 2 Archons as well, as the Temple Archives finishes up in time for the move out. So this is it. Speaking of this, Temple Archives again for the Archon production. So this is going to be aggressive here from Zoun, and Reynor, ooh, he's going +1. So typically in ZvP, if you open up +1 like this, you are going to be trying to skip Roach production. There is a Roach Warren. True, there is a Roach Warren. The lair just finished. We'll see if Reynor starts Roach speed. If he doesn't start Roach speed, this tells us that again he wants to cut Roaches, and that means that he might not have any in time for the push. And if he doesn't have any Roaches, he might just die here and now. He needs that Roach production, but first he needs to figure out what's going on. Lings, they are denied. Ling's gonna be zoned away. Reynor getting his 4th, droning up, saturating his 3rd, getting up to 3-way saturation. Ooh, he's going for a Spire, which means he's not making Roaches. He is getting Roach speed, but for the time being, he's banking his gas here for Mutas, and that is a concern. That is concerning here. Okay, we have a couple of Roaches on the way. Gay was just about to finish up, and Zoun, the Prism is done. He's moving on. Zoun, he's about to push. Okay, we do have 7 Roaches in production. There is going to be some defense here for Reynor. We'll see how it all comes together. And again, thankfully he's not just droning. Thankfully he's not just making Lings. Thankfully he's not banking up for Mutas, as otherwise that could just kill him. As Zoun does push. Gateways are finishing up. Here come the Archons. And the Zealots are after. And Reynor, he realizes that aggression is coming his way. He does recognize it. He's massing up roaches as we speak. This time, Reynor, he will not be caught with his pants down. Not the same way. He even has spine crawlers in production as well. Yeah, for the most part, he knows. And he spots the army with the changelings. And this time he has a force ready. This time he is prepared. Zoun spots the army, pulls away, starts mortar production. But stasis is denied. And Zoun cannot break through this. It's not going to happen. Yeah, he expands. He does expand. This is a late expansion for Zoun, and that means that Reynor, he survives. He survives the push. He gets into mutas. The mutas have not been scouted, and now Zoun is in trouble. Again, Zoun, the whole semblance of this build was to hit that timing. He missed the timing. Didn't hit, didn't land the way that he wanted to. Mutas are on the way. Remember, there is no blink. There is no blink stalkers. And a head-on fights. I mean, the mutas, they can't really do much against these Archons, but look at the roach army. So many roaches. And Zoun is falling behind. Throwing down cannons and shield batteries. Trying to build up the immortal count. Mutas are revealed. They do hit the right-hand side. And they deny the base. Fourth base is denied. Zoun, he's stuck on 3 bases. And again, it's one of those things where, I mean, especially at this level of play, if you're building up, if you're delaying your tech, if you're delaying your economy, if you're building up towards a timing like this, if you don't hit it, I mean, that can just cost you the game. As Reynor steps in, he gets a full surround, collapses here on top of the Archons, and there's nothing left. There's nothing here. Reynor, he is fighting back. It is not going to be a one-sided series. He is here to make a series out of this. Mutas, they come in from behind. They hit the mineral line. They at least try to. Phoenix goes down. They go for the probes. Ooh, Reynor is getting surrounded. He does have to be careful. The Biles. Oh my god, Biles do connect. Nicely done. But Zoun cleans up the roaches. Okay. Okay. No way. I mean, it did cost Zoun every Archon and every Immortal. Like, it was an expensive trade here from Zoun. It was quite expensive, but he holds. Impressive. I'm impressed. Okay. He does hold on. He's getting ready for a counterattack. Reynor, he lost most of his roaches. And Reynor, he's a little bit vulnerable here. The base may go down. Lings are diving in. There's no Archons to defend. More charges in production. Yeah, there's not enough creep here. The base is going to fall. Zoun, he's still in this. Oh. It's still in this. Once again, the Lings, they try to engage. Good positioning here by Zoun. The Archon has arrived. Base goes down. And from here, does Zoun keep pushing or does he rotate? It's going to keep pushing. There are Banelings in position. Ooh, first Archon gets surrounded. Massive pickups. They'll say, oh, they run into the Banelings. But the roaches are exposed. And Zoun is getting himself the roaches. Where's the support? Where are the Lings? We need more Ling pain here. Nice kiting. Nice kiting. Archon should get picked up. Are there enough Link Stalkers? Zoun chasing this back. There are 18 Lings in production. With the arrival of these Lings, we should be able to hold on. We should be able to, but the Zealots likewise, they do arrive as well. They do arrive. Reynor, he holds. Whew, that was that was a tense hold, baby. That was tense. Ay. Reynor, he holds. He survives. Zoun going to be forced all the way back. He did lose his Archons in the assault. Here's one to fire as well. Not many mutas left over. Immortals are required here to defend. Alas, no Immortals. Just relying on a gateway composition. Zoun going for his own fourth towards the top side. Zealot run by, runs into Lings, doesn't really gain too much ground. That's a lot of Banelings. Jesus. That's a lot of Banelings. 26 Banelings on the way. And they're about to finish. They're about to morph in. Nice dodgers here on the piles. We can see Zoun trying to deny some of these Banelings, but they do finish. They do finish up. Archons, they get surrounded. And Reynor, he should have too much. As he gets into the middle line, Probe's going to be going down. Massive connections. GG gets called, and Reynor, he overwhelms. Reynor ties up the series. Whew. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Reynor does tie things up. We have it back and forth. Again, it was just a... And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have Reynor for Basilisk. In the top left, we have Zoun, South Green Protoss. Let's go. Here we go. And so we are going to be settling in. And again, welcome one and all to Abyssal Reef, one of the larger maps in the map pool. Very large map. Much more defendable bases as well. Defendable natural, defendable third, defendable fourth base as well. There's a reason why we see a little late game here on Abyssal Reef. And I would imagine that's where Zoun wants to take this. I would imagine that Reynor wants to deny that as well. If you recall, the last time we saw this map, Reynor versus Hero, Reynor, he was going for drop lords. He was going for Nidus worms as well. Like Hero, he was hyper aggressive. Well, my apologies. I was actually confusing Hero versus Reynor with Serral versus Max. Max with Serral, he was also being hyper aggressive here, trying to avoid that kind of scenario. So we'll see how Reynor approaches Zoun, and vice versa. First things first, though, I do hope that this time Zoun does not open a charge. I'm hoping that he opens Blink instead, or that he opens Stargate into, like, second Stargate into Fleet Beacon. I'm hoping that he does try to embrace, you know, something like Sky Toss or a later game composition. We'll see. We shall see. See, Kaiser Weeb in the chat, is this game live or is this a VOD? We do not live stream VODs, so this is a live stream, so yes, this is live. Sometimes we do live stream replay casts, of course, if an event is, you know, we're not able to cast it live, and if we are provided replays, then we go over replays instead. But if that ever happens, that is typically stated in the title of the stream. That is the case for the OC Championship, for example, where the OC matches are played ahead of time and the players submit their replays and then we cast from replays. For example. But now we're settling in. As it is going to be this Stargate opener for Zoun. And so far, both Game 1 and Game 2, Zoun did open up Void Ray. Did go for the Void Ray opener. We'll see if he does it 3 games in a row. And there it is, a Void Ray. Let's go. So once again, does open up in a certain way to try to limit the vision and scouting of Reynor. Likewise, the downside is that this means he has less oracles to be active on the map to harass, to get economic damage, and to scout as well. But so far, Zoun has been the aggressor in this series. He hasn't really had to react or respond too much to Reynor. Not yet. As the Void Ray has arrived, behind this, Zoun should be expanding, and then getting to his tech of choice. Should be Twilight Council, and oh my god, let's go, as we do see Reynor going for Pneumatized Carapace. Overlord speed. Very fast Overlord speed here by Reynor. And I'm curious if this is just for scouting. This does feel like a very drastic response, but it looks like it is just for scouting. Now, if this was Overlord speed alongside a lair, then it should be for a German taxi and a drop load all in. But as you can see, there is no lair, so this is just for scouting information. This is considered to be inefficient. This is a drastic response, as I mentioned before, but based on the size of the map and based on how this series has been unfolding, I do not blame Reynor for going for this. And that is a second Void Ray, by the way. Aye. Second Void Ray is morphing in. Now we have the 4:30 lair timing. You can see Reynor, he's going to be scouting with the Overlord towards the top right. He's going straight towards the natural. And we have seen Zoun go for this triple Void Ray build with +1 and charge. He often goes mass Void Ray like this with charge loss, not with Blink Stalkers. We'll see if that continues to be the case here. As the Overlord does dive in. And the second Void Ray is in position. And Reynor not really too happy about that, but he will scout. Likewise, 4 drones going down to the Oracle. Aye. 4 workers go down, triple adept, they move out across the map. Zoun threatening a dive. Reynor, he does wall off. Yeah, just barely in time. Does fully wall. And because of the triple void ray, it is going to be charged. It is going to be charged in Archons once again. Now, the way that this works here is I believe this hits a little bit later compared to the previous move out because of the extra void rays. As we can see here, another void rays on the way. But this is going to be another +1 charge Archon timing from Zoun. I'm not too fond of the idea of doing this on Abyssal. I mentioned before that this map is known for macro, and we have seen Zoun pop off with like a late game composition of Skytoss before against top tier Zerg players. We could see that again, but alas, for the time being, it looks like Zoun doesn't really want to enter that kind of game state here. As the hatchery gets very low, Void Ray pulls away, more Void Rays are building up. We can see here that that Reynor, he has skipped his Roach Warren. He's going Ling Hydra. He is going Ling Hydra. Because this is later, this is going to be hitting with Storm, actually. Okay. Storm is on the way. And I do actually like this composition that Zoun's working towards, considering that there are no Roaches or Banelings. Like, without Roaches or Banelings, I do feel like Reynor's army is vulnerable. Drop Lords are on the way. Reynor, he's going to be committing here. Yeah, the drop lows, I believe they're going to be for the queens. He's just going all in. Reynor cuts workers at 67. At 3-way saturation. And he's committing. He's committing everything here towards the third. And is Zoun ready? He needs a little bit more time here for the storms. Likewise, going for Ling Hydra drops towards the natural. Okay. Zoun, he sees the army, he's Hex. He's droning. He just made a wave of drones. 8 drones are on the way. Infestation bits and a lurker down. Now, what's important here about everything that we're seeing from the production tab of Reynor, this is late. This is late droning, late tech, late hive, late lurkers. So it's going to be stuck on Ling Hydra a little bit longer. This is also why this drop play is important. It has to buy time. Has to buy time here. Has to keep Zoun busy back at home while Reynor gets into lurkers. Because, again, he needs time. Drop Lord towards the main. Zoun is getting distracted. Storm zones away. Zoun, he does respond in time. Oh, the shark! Get out of the way! He just wants attention. God damn it. Yes, there's a shark in the air in Abyssal Reef. Or under the sea, if you will. Above us. With that, Reynor's going to be deflected, but the drops are still active. And the longer this goes on, I would say the better it is for Reynor. In the sense that Reynor, the hive is halfway done, and he's that much closer to lurker tech and to lurker upgrades. There it is, 5 lurkers now morphing in. If Zoun had moved out without any lurkers to defend, then I do think that Zoun would have broken Reynor then and there. But Reynor, he's securing his army. He's refining his army, I should say. More lurkers on the way. Zoun throwing down a fleet beacon. Getting ready for Skytoss. Here comes the move out, but there are 5 lurkers to defend. Is that enough, though? Is that enough? Zoun does force a cancel. Pushing deep onto creep. Lurkers are in position, though. Yeah, lurkers are on the high ground. We spoke about it goes both ways. We spoke about how defendable the map is, or the bases are on Abyssal Reef. You can see here with these ramps, with these choke points, that Zoun cannot push his way in. And Zoun is going to be forced to attack. 2 more Stargates. Oh, the shark. Get out of here. But once again, Zoun is taking up. There is down 2 more Stargates, and he's rushing into, or he's headed towards Tempest and Skytoss. As Zoun tests the waters, he runs into a brick wall. Zoun cannot push in. But what I love what Zoun's doing here is that he's denying creep. If you look at the minimap, are there any active tumors? Like, there's no active creep spread towards the center. There's 1 active tumor on the right-hand side. I think there's maybe an active tumor outside of the 4th base, but there's just 0 creep and 0 map presence here for Reynor, really. I mean, he has some Ling Hydra towards the top side, but not really much vision for the Zerg. Oh, nice contamination! Let's go! Contamination on the mothership. Zoun, he does race back home. Both armies are maxing out. And Reynor is moving in without his lurkers. Head lurkers are not ready. They're lagging behind. Links go down. Hydras are exposed. Storm's going to be coming in. First Storm doesn't quite connect. Lurkers, they have arrived. And again, Zoun's not quite ready for this. Reynor pushing towards the ramp. Skytoss is massing. Tempest, they arrive just in time for the Lurkers. Lurkers trying to break their way through. Nice force fields, massive storms. Oh my god, the storms! Storms, they pop up on these Lurkers. It's going to be a one-way trip. They have to get the hell out of here. They try to waddle away. They try to at least. Oh my god, so many of them go down. Brutal losses here for Reynor. Bleeding out a lot of Lurkers. Does escape with, what, 5, 6 of them? Zoun holds. And this army is getting bigger and bigger. More Tempest, more Mothership. Spire just now in the way. Again, Reynor wasn't really ready for this Spire tech. Going for a massive drop alert across the map. Oh my god, he's crazy. Going for a Doom Drop. Doom Drop is on the way. We'll see if he can get past the Tempest. As I don't think he's actually loaded up those drop lords. Never mind. Rotating over. Running towards Zealot Run-By. Meanwhile, Zoun, of course, finding his army, getting to +3 attack, getting to Technology Stabilizers. Immortal Production, second Forge, more Tempest, more Storm. And that first Spire is still finishing up for Reynor. Tempest, they zone back the army. There it is. There's the Doom Drop. Headed towards the natural instead. And does Zoun react in time? He does have a recall, true. He can always recall. Doom Drop into the natural. Likewise, we're having another counter attack to the left hand side. Reynor going for a split push. And Zoun, he's out of position. Storms are going to be coming in. Tempest, they defend the natural. Storms towards left hand side. Probes are going down. That's a lot of economic damage. 1921 probe kills. Oh my god. That's a 21 getting up to 30. 30 workers going down. Zoun is being pulled apart. Again, Zoun, he will win in a head-on fight, but I mean, Reynor, he's not going head-on here. Dips in and backs the hell off. Does get the hell out of there. Does pull away, getting 34 probes. With that, the economy is crippled, but the main army here of Zoun is still terrifying. That's what's important. It's still a terrifying main army. And if Reynor's not too careful, he will trigger a counterattack. And Reynor, he's not ready for that. Oh, as that was the one lurker going down. Reynor, he has the Ling Hydra. Ultra Caverns on the way. Does Reynor have any lurkers left? It might just be pure Hydra. And here come the Storms. Storm's going to be sending him back. Reynor has to get the hell out of here. Now is not the time to fight. Does kind of get the charge lots. But Zoun has momentum. He has momentum. Lurkers are harassing across the map instead. Bases are going down. And Zoun, he's all in. At this point, he is all in. Now, Reynor, he wants Zoun to take his time. So Zoun, he takes down this northern base. I mean, again, it's just buying time for Reynor to build up more Corruptors. 13 Corruptors are on the way. And that might be enough. Likewise, now Zoun pushing in. Knocking down the fourth. Getting into the third. And we're just going for the base trade. Just straight up base trade here for Reynor. Zoun, he can always recall. Has some defensive storms. Takes down 3 hatcheries. 3 bases going down. Another expansion under fire. And we're waiting for that moment. We're waiting for that recall if it ever does occur. Lurkers on the high ground. 2 next side falling. Going for a 3rd nexus as well. Reynor, he's the one to turn back around. Reynor is coming back home. Looking for an engage. Zoun, he notices. He backs off. The High Templar. Oh no! The High Templar! Oh! He gets 3! Oh my god. Massive storms. 3 High Templar go down. 2 of them force to morph into an Archon. Massive pickups. Again, every unit counts. Every unit does count. Reynor no longer supply blocked once again, going for a counterattack. And Zoun, does he come back home? He is. He's turning back around. He's going for the Corruptors. Ooh. Corruptors, they take a big volley. Again, I don't think Reynor can fight this head on. Vipers are on the way. God, that the shark. God. the observer needs to zoom in a little bit. We're too zoomed out. God damn. But it's curious. We're casting from a clean feed, of course. We're not in game, so it is a clean feed. As corruptors are coming from behind, they snipe a base, and Zoun commits. And Reynor, he cannot fight this. He cannot fight this. He has to avoid the main fight for as long as possible. Okay, there's a chance. If Reynor can snipe all the bases, he can make sure there's no recall. Speaking of, we do have a recall towards the top side. Uh-oh. That means there's no more recall left. And we can commit. Reynor, he commits to the base trade. Does have hidden bases. Reynor going to more expansions. And I feel like that was a blundered recall out of Zoun. I don't think that was necessary. He recalled a handful of zealots. And now back at home, Zoun's in a bit of trouble here. I mean, he's going to kill all these buildings. That is true. And it just still favors Zoun in a head-on fight. But Reynor, can he pull this off across the map? It's hard to say. I mean, everything's going to go down. Reynor, he has a hidden expansion. But Reynor, he's not attacking with his main army. You can see Reynor, he's consolidating instead. He's not dealing with the natural or the main. So Zoun is secure. Zoun, he is secure. And Zoun, he's running away with this as well. As probes are getting called out. Zoun has yet to find the expansion. Doesn't know where it is. The ninja base is found. Bold move out of Zoun. Bold move. As Zoun is trying to keep up with the Lings. Reynor, he's supply blocked. He does have some Vipers, true. But even with these Vipers, I mean, again, I believe Reynor has 0 lurkers. He's got a handful of Hydras, a handful of Lings. Just doesn't really have much of an army. He's hoping that Zoun makes mistakes. He's hoping that Zoun, that he like moves in and maybe overextends with a couple units here and there. When it comes to lurkers, okay, there are, I want to say 6, 7 lurkers on the high ground. Okay. There are some lurkers. That helps. Oh, he's fishing for a Tempest. He gets 1, he gets 2. Oof. Gets 2 Tempest. We'll lose 1 Viper, gets an Oracle as well. But again, I don't see Reynor winning this fight. Outside of maybe picking up more Tempest. If he can somehow pick away at the air army, then maybe. But the Tempest, they have arrived. And they can just bully back Reynor. Reynor trying to gather energy here. Going for another abduction. He has 1 Viper left, gets 1. Gets 1 Tempest. And Zoun just commits. Yeah, he just commits in. There is no fear. Storm here on the Hydras. Corruptors they dive in. Slow zone on the Corruptors. GG gets called, and Zoun breaks through. Zoun, he will take a 2-1 lead. GG. Whew. GG, well played. And oh my god, thank you so much for the raid. I apologize for not giving you a shout out earlier, but a big shout out to Percival and Young. See Shady as well. Hello, Percival. Hello. Get that. Good. Loading into ley lines. Let's go. And in the bottom left hand corner, we have Reynor for Basilisk. In the top right, we have Zoun, South Korean Protoss. Again, Zoun is leading the series 2-1, but it's the best of 7. Plenty more games ahead of us, plenty more games to come. We are still in the early maps here, the early rounds of this series. And welcome to one of the smaller maps in the map pool. We just experienced one of the larger ones in Abyssal Reef and Amygdala as well. Now we go back to the smaller ones, and this is where aggression is going to be more favored. If you recall, I wasn't really too fond of the opener of Zoun, winding it back. If you recall, every game so far in this series, every game he has opened up Void Ray, and last game we went Void Ray into a bit of a later chargeable arc on timing, which didn't really hit, didn't really land, and instead he backed off, got into Storm, and eventually switched into Sky Toss, of course. Did eventually switch into Fleet Beacon once he realized he could not break Reynor, but it took a while for that to occur. It took a while for that realization to really sink in. So wasn't too fond of that on Abyssal, but that can be more effective here on ley lines, as the rush distance by ground is shorter and the bases are more exposed. They're more vulnerable here on ley lines than they are on Abyssal Reef. So we could see another charge-based opener out of Zoun. But now though, just gonna be scouting. StarCraft anytime. Fair enough. Fair enough, Pappy. Fair enough. Anytime. So standard open out of Zoun. Likewise, going to be a hatch gas pool here from Reynor. Again, every game so far, Zoun has opened up Void Ray. We'll see if that trend continues here as well. We'll see if we do open Void Ray. Or even Stargates. I'm getting ahead of myself. There, this Stargate has been thrown down. And oh, my apologies, I didn't miss it if it happened previously. I don't know if it happened in the last game, but the hood is up. the hood has risen. Let's go. Actually, sorry, my apologies. If I'm not mistaken, Reynor, he had a wardrobe change, right? Did this? We saw the camera turning off. If you remember, there was like an extended break between the last game and this one, where Reynor turned off his camera. He switched his hoodie. He switched to the hoodie. He actually has a hoodie. Let's go. It's time. It's time, Pappy. Where is it? Let's go. But 100% he has changed his clothes. So he had to put on his favorite sweater. True, he had to smudge. He's unlocking his power. He's taking it seriously. The smudge is real. It's time to game. It's time to get serious. Okay. Speaking of getting serious, for the first time this series, Oracle. For the first time this series, it's going to be an Oracle opener, not a Void Ray. So Zoun is looking like something more standard here. Oracle into a second, into a third base as well. Triple Oracle into a third Nexus. Looks to be the name of the game here for Zoun. Into +1 and Blink. Potentially. Ooh, that is a Twilight Council before the third base. Now, I like this because this is very aggressive, and typically you want to be hiding this with a Void Ray, but because the Oracle opener, now suddenly the likelihood of this being a Twilight Council first is lower. As it should be a Void Ray if we're going for this, so this is designed to catch Reynor off guard. One drone goes down, Twilight Council's on the way. Do we go for charge? Do we go for glaives? What's it going to be? We have yet to see a glaive up build here out of Zoun. We've seen a lot of charge base play. Show us the glaives. What is it going to be? Regardless, aggression from Zoun. Twilight Council's done. We have the initial vanilla adepts moving out to harass, and it's going to be Blink. Okay, Blink here from Zoun very early on. Now, because Blink is so early, there's a couple different things that are happening here. Likewise, early Roach Warren out of Reynor. That is a 4-minute 30 Roach Warren from our Zerg player. Very safe play is what I will say from the side of Reynor. Now, because Blink is so early, if Reynor went for a 2-base all-in, then Blink would actually be done in time to defend. So, in a way, this is a quote-unquote safe build. At the same time, this gives Zoun a lot of map control very early on, as he can be much more active early on with his Blink Stalkers. Likewise, you can see here a 4-gate explosion, I believe going up to 5 gateways, or even up to 6. If he throws down extra gateways, this could be the beginning of a 3-base all-in with 8 gates. Speaking of, that's another gateway being thrown down. Oh, no, cancel. Never mind. Does cancel the gateway. So just 5 for the time being. 5 gates. Ooh, into a forge. This tells us that it shouldn't be an all-in, as typically all-ins do not actually come with a forge with upgrades, as that does slow them down. Typically. So Zoun is going to be saturating, early Blink. And likewise, Reynor does go for, despite having the early Roach Warren, no roaches. He does not make any roaches just for safety. He's making Lings, plus on melee, into a 4th base. He's droning up. We'll catch out some of the Adepts, not bad. Adepts get surrounded. And here come those Blink Stalkers. Lings, they attempt to surround, nice stasis. Stasis goes up. Lings get caught out. Ooh, another stasis does not quite get baited, not yet. Zoun, he retreats. Again, Zoun getting to +1, building up his workers. Zoun, he wants these Lings. Gets a handful of them. Something. Jeez, as Reynor, he's going for a very fast infestation pit. Okay. Jesus, that is a, what, 6-minute infestation pit? Like 6:20, 6:15? Now, with this fast pit, this could go a couple different ways. This shouldn't be Swarmhurst. It should not be Swarmhurst. This could just be Fast Hive into Ling Ultra. But it is risky to do this when you don't have map control. Stasis goes off. Nicely done. Sunny trades well. Oracles, they activate. Zoun has to get out of here. Otherwise, he will be surrounded. But yes, second Evo chamber, Baneley Nest. Hive is on the way. This looks like Ultras. Now, typically, you don't actually go Ling Ultra in ZvP unless you gain map control early on, and unless you have the Protoss player contained. Ooh, as one Oracle goes down. But that's typically a prerequisite for making the style work. To be able to give yourself breathing room to actually tech up into that Hive tech. Also, I'm assuming this is going to be for Ultras, but I guess we'll keep an eye on Reynor. We'll see if he techs in a different direction. But based on +2 melee, it should be the Ultra Cavern. We'll see. The Hive is still finishing up. So far, Zoun's still hunting down any stray Lings, being active, getting into 2-1 upgrades. We do have some safety Roaches in the mix as well, going Ling Bane Roach, just Ling Bane Roach. Yep, there's the Ultra Cavern. So this is a bold move. We have seen this work. Like this is a build. Don't get me wrong. Like going Ling Bane into Ultra, it is a thing. But again, typically you do need map control. You do need an abundance of Lings. You need to be able to just keep the Protoss player back at home, because the reality is that Reynor, he is vulnerable right now until he gets into the Ultras. Like, he is taking so quickly and investing so hard into these Ultras that to do so right now he's only purely defending with mainly Ling. And we'll see if Zoun can abuse that. Alas, he only has Ling Stalker, so Reynor should be okay. He should be okay. Sure, the Stalkers, they're poking in, but there's no Storm. The Temple Archive's just finished. There's no Storm, there's no Archon Charge. They do trade well, though. Stalkers are going down. Rough trades here for Zoun. He's getting caught out. Yeah, he's getting caught out completely. These are rough trades for Zoun. Expensive losses. Stalkers are going down. And even without the threat of the Ultras, Reynor, he's going to be able to pop off with Ling Roach. With his Ling Roach army is pushing in. Zealots, they reinforce, but Zoun, he's getting caught out. Roaches, they back off. Ultras are on the way. I do think that these Ultras are a little bit premature, as they don't have kindness plating. Like, the upgrades are very much so lacking for Reynor. And Ultras, they benefit so much from those upgrades. But it may be enough anyway. Like, it does feel like Zoun has bled out too much in the lead up to the mid game. In the lead up to this game state. Drop Lord's moving in. He does have Temple Archives. I believe he has no Storm. So just Archons. It's still just a very kind of flimsy army here for Zoun. Very gateway focused, not too much splash damage. Does trade well against the pure Ling, that is true, but Reynor is getting ready for Drop Lords. Drop Lords are getting ready. I mean, that was an efficient trade here from Zoun. True, was efficient. Takes down the fresh bases. Has yet to confirm what's going on. If he was aware of the Ultras, now he spots them, and he needs Immortals. Immediately, 1 Immortals on the way. But he needs more than 1. Now he finally realized what's going on. Okay, this is the power of the hoodie. Drop Lords are on the way. Headed towards the main. Zoun somewhat spots him, but he's out of position. Ultras, they hit the right-hand side. And there's nothing here. No shield battery. No warp in. Drop Lords towards the main. And Zoun is just getting pulled apart. Just getting pulled apart completely at this point. Trying to go for a base trade, but he's going to be losing all his bases back at home. It's not going to be as worth it. We'll take down the spawning pool at least. Spawning pool goes down. Ultras, they do engage. 1 Ultra goes down, 2nd Ultra as well. Lings, they drop into the main, they drop in towards the 3rd as well. Yeah, bases are falling, force down. And this time he doesn't really have much of an army. He has a handful of Stalkers, a handful of Archons. The supply just is not there for Zoun. And that is 6 Ultras on the way for Reynor. Like, the production on its own should be enough. As Zoun, he is defending back at home. But the reality is it just took too long for Zoun to realize what was happening. It was just a very shaky game here from Zoun. Into Fast Blink, into the Blundered Assault, into Archon. The Immortal count, it's looking decently high. He has, what, 4 Immortals, I want to say? I'm going to say 4, I mean 2. never mind. 2 Immortals. And once again, Reynor going for a counterattack. Hits the third base. And Zoun has no economy. He's all in. At this point, he's completely all in. Ultras, they bust into the mineral line. Probes, they come back too soon. A 10 probes going down to the splash damage, to the swipes. Lings, they bust into the natural. And there are just Ultras everywhere. Ultras all over the place. Down, he's getting surrounded. And we're getting a back and forth here. GG gets called, and Reynor, he ties up the series at 2-2. GG. Does tie this up. We are having a back and forth. Let's go. Let us go. Again, it was I would say a kind of a shaky game there from Zoun. I wasn't too in love with the overall build of choice. Went for early blink into some early game aggression. Tried to go into a charge or Archon follow-up, but he was bleeding out a lot of Stalkers in the early game. If you remember, when he was trying to push in towards the top side, he was bleeding out like 5, 6, 7, 8 Stalkers. Difficult to be aggressive against that and break through, but we'll see. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have Reynor for Basilisk. And in the top right, we have Zoun. Green Protoss. Let's go. And welcome all to Game 5 here to determine who is going to be on match point. Will it be the Zerg or the Protoss to gain momentum in the series? So we are settling in. And opening up. Going to be a standard gate expand here out of Zoun. There's no crazy 12 pool or early gases out of Reynor. Everything looking normal for the time being. Reynor does open up hatch first. And welcome to Ultra Love. Again, we were just talking about this, but Ultra Love is a smaller map, that is true. It has a similar rush distance by ground compared to ley lines, but the bases are definitely more defendable. They are much more defendable here. There's a ramp coming into the natural. There's a choke point coming into the 3rd and the 4th location. Likewise, there's also a destructible tower that you can knock down. You can knock down the tower, which also gives you time to warp in, to recover, to reinforce. And there are very narrow ramps, or I say ramps, bridges in the center of the map, which can also be quite difficult to actually push through. There are those narrow bridges, there are these ramps as well in the center, Zelnaga towers, plenty of points of elevation. So we could be in for a longer game state. I say could because I feel like really the defensive prowess of this map comes into play when you get up to 4 bases. When you get up to like a 4 base economy with maxed out armies, then it can be quite difficult to gain any ground. But before that kind of game state, that's when you can still be aggressive and still be assertive. What I'm getting at, another charge build? Maybe. Maybe here from Zoun. It's possible. Interesting. As the pylon gets placed closer towards the main, it's going to be the Stargate. Do we open up Void Ray once again? Now, so far, 3 out of the 4 games so far, we've seen Void Ray from Zoun. It was the last game where he opened up Oracle. Zoun is in position. Oh, did attempt a pylon block, but did misplace the pylon. So Reynor, he will expand. We'll take the 3rd. Reynor just keeping up with the Adept with the Shade. And the Stargate is about to complete. Also, hello, No Clone in the chat. Heisenberg as well. Armani, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo están? Bienvenidos. Good to see you all. And we have an answer to the question here. What's the first unit of choice? Going to be an Oracle. Okay, not a Void Ray. Not again. It's going to be an Oracle opener here out of Zoun. Much more standard. This should lead into a 3rd base. Last game, this led into an earlier Twilight Council. into early blink, but we saw that Zoun wasn't really able to make use of it. Like, it wasn't really worth it in the end. So for the first time this series, we could be seeing a standard opener. We haven't seen it yet. What I mean by that is triple Oracle into a third base into +1 and blink. Like, that has not happened at all this series. But this could be it. Oracle dips in and gets a drone. Rotates over towards the third base, threatens the larva. Doesn't get much else. Reynor, he's on patrol. He will delay the third. Nicely done. Takes down the probe. Probe does go down. Zoun does expand. And now we're waiting for the tech. And there it is. It is going to be the Forge and the Twilight Council +1. And actually, it is an earlier Forge and Twilight Council, so this could still be +1 in charge, not blink. We'll keep an eye on Zoun. As the Adepts poke in, they threaten the army. Lings are in position. The Adepts get shut down, but they shade into the natural. Rough position here with the Oracles. So far, 2 drones falling. Nothing too major, though. It does shoot just 2 drones, getting a 3rd drone towards the end. But just 3. So far, good defense here by Reynor. Is a much better defense. We have the tech of choice, +1 and blink. Okay, for the first time this series, standard game. We're playing meta. +1 blink, third base, 39 extra gateways. From here, we can build up the Stalker army, then take gases and get into our tech of choice, either Colossus production or Storm. Let's go. Things are looking normal. Back at home, Reynor getting a 4th, droning up, saturating his bases. I should point out here that the Oracle takes a lot of hits, a lot of damage. It is going to be +1 in range on the way here for Reynor. It was a later Evo chamber. So it looks like Reynor, he's going Roach Hydra. Less Ling heavy. Interesting. Lings are on the way, but again, there's no melee upgrade to help support them. And this also means that, I mean, I'm assuming that it's going to be Roach Hydra. Based on the gases being taken, we should be taking up. As he's taking his gases here at the 3rd, is joining up towards over 3 base saturation. Wings, they threaten to dive. Oh, meanwhile, Zoun setting up across the map. Oh my god! You know, I was looking forward to, a longer game state, but I just realized Zoun, he has not taken his gas at the 3rd base. He has a proxy across the map, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's getting up to 8 gates in total. He's going for a 3 base all in. At the same time, Lings, they hit the 3rd base. Then he reinforces back at home. A couple of warp-ins. Zoun, he does defend. Black Stasis goes off, catching out some of the roaches, catching out one of the queens. Not bad. Stasis does connect. We do see a nice bait here on that final Stasis. Lings, they coming from behind. They do find the proxy. And they're forcing Zoun back. As the gateway is going to be threatened. But again, Zoun is completely all in. Behind this, there's no Immortal production. There's no Colossus. There's no Storm. There's no further tech. There's no 4th base. It's just purely Blink Stalker. Takes down the base. Hatcher goes down. But Reynor, he's buying a lot of time. Building up more roaches. But the roaches are exposed. These are expensive losses here for Reynor. Ideally, you want to be bleeding out Lings, not roaches. Ooh, Oracle goes down. Bow not quite connecting. Stalker still moving in. Zoun is supply block. Now is not the time. 4 pylons on the way. And the supply block is brutal. Nice kiting. Zoun trying to gain ground, but again, the longer this goes on, the better it is for Reynor. Zoun is completely all in. Lings, they hit the 3rd base. Is there a warping back at home? There is, but despite that, 10 probe kills. That is brutal damage. Zoun, he's running out of steam. And again, that supply block didn't help. Ooh, Spies once again, they connect. 19 probes go down. Yes, down, his economy is crippled. He was already all in, but now he can barely sustain himself. And Reynor, he's holding. Reynor, he is holding at this point. Zoun does not gain any ground. He killed the 4th, but that's all he killed. And now there's more roaches morphing in, more Ravagers. Reynor has the freedom to go for counterattacks. Again, this push from Zoun just took too long. Took far too long here. And also, ideally, he was hoping that that roaches were being skipped as well. Reynor, he opened up +1 range into a roach heavy composition. Plenty of roaches. Zoun tries to rotate, takes a lot to the face. Another Stalker goes down. Lings, they hit their proxy, no more reinforcements. Or at least they're going to be delayed. And Reynor's maxed. He's maxed out already. He's at 200 supply. And Zoun just doesn't really have much left. There's just not much left over here. Trying to poke in. It's just not getting easier though. +2 is on the way. Burrow. Reynor even going for a roach counterattack. That's how much freedom he has. Oh, tower goes down. Takes down a Link. Just the one. One Link goes down. There's the recall. And from here, Reynor can just throw it in a Hydrogen at this point. Just throw it in a Hydrogen. Tech up into Hive Tech. Drone up. Speaking of droning, 11 drones go down. Oh my god. Okay. Gets 11 workers. Despite that, 1 Oracle will fall. Did I say 1? Second Oracle gets picked up as well. And here comes a counterattack. Reynor, he commits. Back at home, there are some Stalkers that defend, of course, but there's no Immortals, there's no Disruptors, there's no Storm. Roaches, they come in from behind, they burrow. They don't have Tunneling Claws, so they're kind of stuck. They can't quite move, but they're there. Oh, there's Revelation. Roaches, they get spotted. They do on burrow, but that's a lot of Roaches going down. Oh, these are some rough losses here for Reynor. Some inefficient trades, I should say. He should still have enough. 17 roaches morphing in. Gee, 24 roaches. Jesus. And Zoun, at this point, he's huffing a bit of copium. Not gonna lie, there's a bit of copium back. A little bit. If he had a hoodie, the hoodie would be up right now. As roaches, they hit the 3rd, probe's going to be going down. Means now this army just hasn't been getting any bigger. And it looks like the final assault here from Zoun. Reynor's huddling under the army. Let us around, let's go! He pops out. Not even towards the end. GG gets called. And with that, Reynor, he will take a lead in the series. Whew. GG. GG, well played, Reynor. He will take a lead, and with that, Reynor, he is now unamas 1 game away from advancing on and from knocking Zoun. Oh, as we're getting into potentially the final game of the series, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of King's Cove, we have Reynor for Basilisk, and in the top left we have Zoun, the Green Protoss. Let's go. Here we go. As we are going to be opening up, going for a 15 hatch, 15-15 out of Reynor. Likewise, Sender Opener out of Zoun. And welcome one and all to King's Cove. Again, one of the larger maps in the map pool. It has a very long rush distance by ground, likewise very defendable 3-base setup as well. There is a narrow ramp coming into the natural, narrow ramp coming into the third as well, so very difficult to break a defending player on 3 bases. The fourth is different. The fourth is much more exposed, that is true. You can punish the 4th base a lot more, you can be just a lot more aggressive, a lot more assertive when it comes to the 4th base at least, but that is a much later form of aggression here. When it comes to denying the 4th, if a player can establish their 4th and 5th base, then mate, they can pop off. And again, I do favor Zoun in a longer, later game. I do favor him in that situation, but can he get there? That is the question. When it comes to the series, we've seen even on some of these other maps, these smaller maps, that Zoun himself has been aggressing and been more all-in, and hasn't been as successful with it. So I'm hoping for a different approach, but we'll see. It's also one of those things where you expect a player like Reynor here on King's Cove to cut corners. You expect him to skip roaches and go Ling Hydra and be vulnerable to all-ins as well. So there's why you can make an argument that you can try to go for an all-in on this map, but not too fond of the idea, personally. Not too fond of it. So we're settling in. Reynor getting his 3rd, and meanwhile Stargate opener out of Zoun. Yo, Zoun, the 2 games that he opened up Oracle, he's lost. Coincidence? Do we go back to the Void Ray? True. We'll see. So we have our Stargates. And we'll find out if we open up Void Ray once again or Oracle instead. How are we opening up? Zoun will threaten the shade. There it is! We're back. The Void Ray is coming. We're going back to basics, back to what worked. It's going to be that Void Ray opener, designed to deny vision, deny scouting, and keep Reynor in the dark. And to kind of shroud Zoun here in the cloud of ambiguity. To keep his tech hidden. Behind this, getting his 3rd base. 3rd is on the way. And from here, where do we tech? Do we throw down an early Twilight Council or not? Overlord goes down to the Void Ray. Oracle's on the way. Reynor, it would be risky if he were to skip the Roach Warren. We'll see if he throws one down in the next 30 seconds. Void Ray does move out, hunting down extra Overlords, or at least trying to. And so far, Zoun, he is just probing up. No early tech. Early Eva Chamber here by Reynor. This looks like +1 melee. And looks like Zoun is playing standard. No early Twilight Council. There's no glaives. There's no charge. This should be a Forge and Twilight Council instead. There it is. 2nd Void Rays on the way. Do you recognize this? This does look like the same build that he went for on Abyssal Reef. What does that mean? That means a triple Void Ray into Chargel Archon Storm. At least that's what he went for in Abyssal. So I'm assuming that's going to be the case here. +1 melee on the way. Eva Chamber was spotted by the Oracle. There's the tech. There are the upgrades. Forge and Twilight Council on the way. Oracle being zoned back. And you can see here, Reynor, he does throw down the safety Roach Warren. 5-minute Roach Warren for Reynor, so he's not cutting corners. This means if there was a hidden tech, like a hidden Glaive Adept build, for example, then Reynor would be ready for it, at least somewhat. Same with charge. And again, we're expecting Archon production, charge, storm, and +1. And there it is, there's the Templar Archives. So this is the same build that Zoun went for on Abyssal Reef. It is the same build. As a result, Zoun, he won't be active and he won't be out on the map until he finishes up these upgrades, until he has a decent Archon count and Storm as well. And we saw that even with this timing from this move out from Zoun that he's working towards, even if he doesn't find any damage, he's more than willing to embrace Skytels from here. So he can be active, deny creep, threaten his opponent posture, and then threaten the Fleet Beacon. And again, that's at least how he played out Abyssal. There we go, Storm is on the way. Likewise, Reynor has yet to take up into Hydras. So far, just still Lings, and of course, Roach Tech is available. But I don't see a Hydra yet. We should see, there we go, Infestation Bits on the way. It's gearing up. Void Rays a poke in, they take some hull damage. Now, unless I missed it, the longer this goes on without a Hydrogen, the more that I believe this is going to be Ling into Ultra again. Yeah, +2 melee. This screams Ultra. On the one hand, this is the same build that Zoun went for on Abyssal Reef. Meanwhile, Reynor, he's going for the same build he went for on, I believe it was on Ley Lines. Yeah, Bane and that's on the way as well. So it looks like Ling, Bane, Roach into Ultras. And who do I favor as these two compositions clash? I mean, Ultras, they're ideal for diving. They're built to dive on top of High Templar and dive on top of Storms. The longer this goes on without Zoun realizing what's going on, the more time that he has without Immortals. Like, he needs to realize what's happening, then take into Immortal production. Oracle is going to be denied. It does not get eyes on the Hive. Again, that's a very early Hive here from Reynor. And Zoun did not scout. Doesn't know what's going on. You can see Zoun, he is posturing. But it's only posturing, he's not committing. He's only poking out to trade with Lings, to pick off some Queens, if at all possible, to deny some creep. Zoun, he's only testing the waters. Hive is almost done. Show us that Ultra Cavern. Ooh, meanwhile, Flea peeking immediately. Now again, Zoun isn't fully aware of the tech. He isn't fully aware of the Hive. But it looks like he has recognized he cannot break Reynor, and he's backing off. So this isn't a bad position for Zoun. Not bad whatsoever. Hive is now done. Waiting for the Ultra Cavern. There it is. Ultras are on the way. So again, this is the same build that Reynor went for on Ley Lines. Just Ling, Bane, Roach into Ultra. And I would favor Reynor here if Zoun wasn't already taking into Skytoss. Like, that's the problem here, is that Zoun, he already recognized early on that he was not going to be able to break Reynor, so he is much faster to tech into the Fleet Beacon, into Stargates, into Mothership and Tempest production. So as both players are taking, I lean towards Zoun. Ooh, that's a cancel. It's going to be canceled on the base. Zoun, I'm sure he noticed +2 melee. +2 melee is a tell. Yeah, Immortals are building up. And he scouts the main. Hallucination does confirm the Hive and the Ultra Cavern as well. So Zoun, he sees everything. Now, the longer this goes on, as you can imagine, we will need some anti-air. That's the big disadvantage of Reynor's composition. I don't know if you noticed. Again, Ling, Bane, Roach into Ultra. No anti-air. And what I just said, there's no Hydras, there's no Spire, there's no Corruptors, there's no Mutas. There it is, double Spire just down on the way. Reynor, he now recognizes that he's not going to end the game anytime soon. He needs some anti-air. He needs Corruptors. Oh boy. So Reynor, he needs time, going for a Doom Drop. Doom Drop towards the left. Main army towards the right. Can he break through? As Zoun, he is pushing through the center. Just poking in, not committing. Zealot will spot the Dropper Lords. Does Zoun notice? Oh, it looks like he has. Yeah, did notice the Dropper Lords. He responds. But Reynor needs time. Reynor, he needs time for those Spires, for the upgrades. Meanwhile, Zoun is on patrol. Again, he is aware. He is in position towards the left-hand side. And he does find the Overlords. Oh, the Dropperlord's going to be shut down. He gets one. One full Overlord falls. He gets a second one as well. Ay, ay, ay. Just like that, Reynor is being shut down. Getting a third Dropperlord as well. And as all this is happening, more Tempests are building up. Like, Zoun's army is just getting greater and greater. He's just refining it over time. Reynor, he's maxed out, but still no corruptors. Getting to 1-1 upgrades. Master Stasis goes off. Zoun, he's defending well. We do have a massive Baneling run by here set up towards the 5th. Towards the 5th base. But the Orc he scouts, he sees. Does spot the army. Here come the storms. Reynor, he backs off. Gets the hell out of there. Zealot Ramai comes in, takes down the base. Hatchery's under fire. And it's going to go down as well. So Zoun shuts down all the lings. Catches the base. These roaches that don't really scale into a longer game. Wants to get rid of them. Infestors on the way. They will help. Neural parasites being researched. Let's go. Getting to neural. I'm still not too confident in Zoun really having any pushing power here, but he does find the roaches. Ay. I mean, Reynor does want to get rid of them, but ideally in a more efficient way. As that is 8 infestors. You can see Reynor leaning in. He's not feeling it. No. Calm down, Papi. Calm down. I mean, it has been definitely a shaky kind of road here to this game state, but Reynor, he's still very much so in this. Still very much so. Unfortunately, he has no Skyzerg yet. He has to trade out an army, replace it with Corruptors. Because of all these Infestors, he has a lot of potential. Even with limited anti-air, he could technically neural all the Tempest. He can neural all the Tempest. He can turn them on the Protoss instead. Like, these Infestors have a lot of potential. A lot of potential here for Reynor. But it is difficult. That is true. Like, Infestors are not the most safe spellcaster to use, as they do have to expose themselves to go for the neural. You want a nice thing run by? Will force a cancel. Does force a cancel, delays the expansion. Not bad. But this is a death blow of an army. Oh my, there's so many Archons, Immortals, Storm, Tempest, Mothership, Void Rays. Like, this is the ideal that Zoun's been building up towards. Ay. And is Reynor ready for this is the question. I believe he has 6 to 8 Infestors, which will help. I don't think he has any Corruptors, but the Infestors, I mean, that's what he has to rely upon. Revelation tags the army. At the same time, big link counterattack, trying to force the army to come back home. Zoun turns around. Oh, what's happening? Show us the main fight. Show us what's happening. What does he catch? Tempest. Does catch 2 Tempests. Very nicely done. And again, this is what Reynor needs. Oh, no, not this though. Mass feedbacks. Does catch out the Infestors. The Tempest, they survive. No shot. And with that, a rough start here for Reynor. He does commit, lands a fungal, slow zone here on the Ultras, and Zoun is breaking through. He's breaking through, the army just melts for Reynor. Ay. Basically, even though Reynor got the neurals on the Tempest, there was no anti-air. So the Tempest, they just lived. They just stood there. they just survived anyway. The Infestors were exposed, as we mentioned. I mean, that's the downside. The Infestors, they're quite vulnerable. They all go feedback, and Zoun is snowballing out of control, looking to take this game, looking to force the ace match. Looking to bring us to game 7. There's 5 Ultras on the way. At least some of the Infestors are still alive. They're coming in. Show us the neural. Storm popping up. Oh, the Infestors, they get shut down. They get completely shut down. The Ultras, though, they do collapse here on the Archons. The Ultras are popping up. Let's go. They break through the Archons. And Reynor, he's holding. Whew. Is holding on. The Tempest, they still raise the You see Reynor chuckling a little bit there. He lost 44 workers. Did kill the ground army, but what about the Sky Toss? What about the Sky Toss, Papi? Ay. There's 13 Corruptors in production. That's a lot of Corruptors, true. And there are no more Archons. Yeah, Zoun has to back off. He has to get out of here. Zoun, he does pull back. Will get away. Stalkers, they shut down the expansion. And Reynor, he doesn't really have a bank. This is where the income does lie in a sense. Reynor, he has 2,000 minerals. He has 0 gas. And gas is what's important right now, as he needs that for Corruptors. Corruptors, spellcasters, everything really. So Reynor, he's barely maxing out. Likewise, lost a lot of workers. And again, even though Zoun lost his ground army, he can afford it. He can afford to replace it. Zoun has a bank. He's rebuilding Zarkons, his Immortals. Zoun diving in. Oh, share my papi, share my. Again, Reynor, he is up against Wall, does catch out the Stalkers. Nice catch. Delayed response here by Zoun. Catches one Ultra. Bleeding out every single Stalker. And instead just going to be replaced here with more Archons, more Immortals. Just a greater army. That's a lot of Protoss. That's a lot of Protoss. And here we go. Here comes the second round. The second wave. Now this time, Reynor, he does have Corruptors, true. But he has to respect those Archons as he cannot engage head-on. Not without his Ultras. Here they come. Here comes a Neural. And Neural on the Archons. Lings are coming from behind. Storm's probably going to be popping up. And Reynor, can he take the fight? He can. He dusts around the army. Forces a recall. Very nice fight. Whew. That was the ideal. Zoun, he did make it back home. But these Infestors, they still have energy. I just realized, Reynor, he's down to 33 drones. Jeez, 12 more drones. No, the workers, the drones. 12 more drones going down. Again, he barely has an economy to sustain himself, but he has a maxed out army. That's what matters. And here he goes. He pushes in. Ooh, he cannot break this though. And he's pushing into the wall of cannons. Storm going to be popping up. Neurals, they come in on the Archons. Mothership goes down. Reynor, can he break through this? It's all or nothing for Reynor. It is all or nothing. The Tempests go down. What about the ground army? There's what? 2 Ultras left. Yeah, 2 Ultras remaining. The Neurals are running out. And GG, well played. Zoun, he holds. He shuts down the army. And Zoun ties up the series. We are going to the ace match. Whew. GG. GG, well played. We're going all the way to game 7. We're going the distance, Pappy. We're going the distance. Let's go. And again, this is where Zoun is favored, right? Getting into this longer later game, embracing a Skytoss army in these larger maps. But we're done with the larger maps. That's the downside here of, you know, a best of vetoes that occur. Neon Violet Square was vetoed, Frost Sign as well. We are loading into El Dorado, one of the most vetoed maps in the map pool. But I mean, with only 1 veto each, it made it through. El Dorado made it through. Clearly, neither player wanted to play on it. It was left all the way to the end. And I'm sure both Reynor and Zoun were hoping they were not going to be forced to play on El Dorado. But we're here. We are here. Now, when it comes to El Dorado, it is very quirky. There's a lot of... So he might play more reactively instead. We'll see. We shall see. As it is all on the line. Otherwise, hope you've all been enjoying yourselves. Hope you've all been having a great time. And remember, this is only the first series. Only the first series here of the night. We still have Serral versus Serral versus Estrella after this. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have Reynor, the Basilisk. And in the bottom right, we have Zoun, the Korean Protoss. And here we go. We have gone the distance. Zoun versus Reynor all the way to game 7, all the way to the ace match. This could go either way, especially on El Dorado. It's time. It's time to ape it up. If Reynor could put on another hoodie on top of the one he already has, I'm sure he would. As, ooh, we are opening up hatch pool. Interesting. So Reynor, he's laying his gases. Reynor, he's going for a delayed gas opener instead. Interesting. With this later link speed, later tech from the Zerg. So a bit of a greedier start, I should say. Meanwhile, Zoun going to be opening up Gate Expanded to Cybercore. And we can settle in. So again, some of the big features here of El Dorado: short rush distance by air. Because of the short rush distance by air, we have seen a lot of players rush into Skytoss. We haven't seen that yet this series from Zoun, rushing into a fleet beacon, into a second Stargate, into like a Tempest or a carrier rush. That hasn't happened yet, but that is viable on this map. We've even seen Hero, Classic, and Max Packs go for that style on El Dorado. Likewise, because of the way that you can expand, both players, if they expand towards each other, then the rush distance by ground is very short, and we could see ground-based all-ins. I'm talking German taxis, I'm talking just a Ling Queen Roach push across the map. We can just walk across. Again, the rush distance becomes insanely short, and you can be hyper-aggressive. Likewise, the gold bases are available. They are available to our players. Could try to rush into them a little bit earlier on, and likewise, depending on where our players expand, we could actually go for Nidus play as well. Nidus Swarm Host play, also a viable option, depending on how the Protoss expands specifically. Again, if they abandon either the top or the south side, you can Nidus the other end and try to pull them apart. We haven't seen too much late game on El Dorado. That just hasn't really happened too much. It's mainly mid-game oriented, like early to mid-game is how things go. Zani checks the gold. The mineral patch is not in mind, and Reynor, he goes for the linear expansion. He expands away from Zoun. Interesting. So a much safer style. Remember, link speed is heavily delayed here for Reynor. Meanwhile, Stargate opener into Oracle. No Void Ray this time from Zoun. Is no Void Ray. Zoun in the dark. Yes, Zoun, he's in the void. Oh, no. Oh, no. It's empowering him. And this is interesting. Oracle into a delayed Void Ray. Very interesting here from Zoun. With this, he can still hunt down the Overlords. He can try and deny vision here, deny scouting of Reynor. And where does this lead? Where does he take us? As the Overlord is going to fall. From here, Zoun could open up more aggressively. But we've seen, again, mixed results with his aggressive builds this series. So I'm not entirely convinced. Second Void Ray. This is looking like the previous game's build. What I'm referring to is triple Void Ray opener into Forge, Twilight Council into +1 and Charge, into Archons, into Storm. It is looking like the build from last game. From King's Cove and Abyssal Reef, for those that recall. From those two maps. Which is Zoun's go-to macro build. Meanwhile, Reynor, he does get a safety Roach Warren. After the Void Ray makes sense, doesn't want to get caught up by Glaive Adepts. So safety Roach Warren, joining up, Lair is on the way. Reynor playing it safe. Meanwhile, Zoun doing everything he can to deny the active tumors. Does deny the tumors. Tech is finishing up. There's the third Void Ray. Again, this should be into Temple Archives, into +1, into Charge, into Storm, into Archons. Meanwhile, Devastator Shade in. 2 drones going down. Forced to recall. Void Ray into the main. Going for the Queen. And the Queen is exposed, and the Queen, it's gonna go down. Oh, barely not. Never mind. Reynor saves it just in time. Does pull away. Now, when it comes to this style here from Zoun, just to reiterate once again, there is going to be a timing available here with Storm. With Storm and +1, they can hit quite hard and quite fast. True. But if Zoun, if he tests the waters, if he does confirm that maybe... Oh, yeah, it does look like a hockey issue. He never started +1. He never started +1 and... Oh, okay. Hopefully everything's okay. Looks like something has occurred. When we're more than happy, of course, to slow things down. And hopefully everything's okay. Hopefully everything is okay from the side of Zoun. But we're going to be going in a short break. Now, what I was about to say here is that when it comes to this build of choice from Zoun, if he does recognize that Reynor is playing safe and that Reynor is cutting workers and that Reynor has like a solid position, then Zoun will just back up and throw down a fleet beacon and take into Sky Toss and just head towards that late game composition. I did mention before that we don't really see a lot of late game on El Dorado, so I'm curious to see how this plays out, especially with how our players have expanded, bearing in mind that Reynor will not have the economic advantage that he otherwise would have. Here we go. Toilet will be back here to resume and to recover. So we will be back soon. Huh. We are back. Whew, okay. And we're settling in. Now, once again, if you recall, we were in the middle of El Dorado, and we did have, of course, Zoun taking up in towards Storm, in towards Charge, in towards +1, in towards a solid timing here, as that's a massive gateway explosion. Meanwhile, Reynor, he is being a little bit more active earlier on with his Ling, Roach, and Zoun. He isn't quite ready for this. Oh no, the surround! High Templar gets surrounded. Again, Storm is not ready. Do we have an Archon? No, the Archon is barely morphing in time. Whew. Clutch defense here by Zoun. Does hold on. Reynor moving in. Reynor, he's cutting workers. He's all in. Oh my god. Reynor, he's completely all in at this point. Again, it looks like we did miss out on a couple of seconds as they unpaused, and it looks like they played for a little bit first. So we did miss out a little bit on what was happening, but Reynor, he's going completely all in. One way or another, either he breaks down or he dies trying. He breaks through. Stasis goes up. Zoun is holding on here towards the natural, but against Zoun, he was not ready whatsoever. His gateways were ready, his upgrades were ready. Lings, they bust into the main. Zels, they warp into defend just in time. Storm is done, but no High Templar. No High Templar, no Storm. Zoun is getting caught with his pants down. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, kind of a rough moment to come back to, not gonna lie. Just it does feel like we missed out on like some pivotal seconds of what happened after the unpause. Does feel like it. But looks like Reynor, he has broken the third base. The Archons, they are able to hold on a little bit longer with the Vials. The Vials, they connect, they take down one of the shield batteries. They take down the shield battery, they take down one of the Archons as well. While zoning him away. And Reynor, he has broken the third. As he mentioned, like, we do not often get late game on this map, so I was a little bit surprised to see Zoun go for a late game build. And as we saw, before Storm could finish, before he could be ready, Reynor, he shuts him down. Like, this is the power, this is the strength of El Dorado. Is the early to mid game, is aggression. Boys are being pulled, but Reynor, he has done it. He has broken the back, despite how intense the series has been. I mean, hey, we went all the way to the Ace match, went all the way to Game 7. Here, Reynor, he all ins, baby. Let's go. Has done it. What is that left? There's what? 2 Archons, soon to be 3. Ooh, 1 Archon goes down. And Zoun, again, he fought so hard in this series to bring us to this final game. And for it to end like this, I mean, hey, that's El Dorado. I mean, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, Pappy? Welcome, Pappy, welcome. As he does break through, pushing into the mineral line. Yeah, you can see Zoun smiling to himself a little bit as well. I mean, again, the writing is on the wall. And GG gets called. Reynor, he does it. He will take the series 4-3, advancing on to the next round. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Not an easy series. Not an easy series whatsoever. It went all the way to the final game. It went down to the wire here. And in the end, he was able to catch Zoun out. Again, winding it back a little bit. Zoun, he was going for a more macro build. He was building up towards Storm, towards +1, towards a Gateway Explosion. Remember, 7 gates were on the way as the all-in was happening. Zoun was not ready here, and he did not scout, did not get eyes on the all-in that was coming. So Zoun was caught off guard, and Reynor, he just committed then and there. Zoun was not quite ready, caught just before he could embrace his build. With that, GG, well played. We're going to be going on a short break. When we come back, we will have our second series of the night. We're going to be back with Serral versus Estrella in another ZvP. Oh boy. Here we go. Here we go, as that does take us, so that does wrap up, or at least we're halfway through the broadcast. We'll see you guys in a couple of minutes here for our next best of 7. See you soon. Take this moment to drain your disruptors, massage your marines, hydrate all your hydras, tuck in your tempest, and we'll see you guys after the break. See you soon.